right, this just in, everybody. You're all a bunch of idiots, all right? Because you've been listening to the wrong shit. You should be listening to the Tales from the Head podcast, not all the news you've been sucking down like your coffee every morning. Give it a rest. How you doing, guys?
What up, everyone?
It's another edition of Tales from the Head. This week, we're going to be covering mostly just how the news is becoming such a negative part of our psyche now.
Mm-hmm.
And just... we're going to be addressing things that we're noticing. We're going to be talking about maybe some alternatives to help you out of those ruts that we're digging ourselves into constantly. And just some fun factoids. Because even though we're going to tear it apart, basically, there are some positives and things that it has done that I did want to mention just to be a little fair. I mean, it's not really fair, but it's like what you do when you pretend to be fair. You're like... yeah, I'm going to give you like 30 things that I hate about you, but I'm going to say one thing,
yeah.
Just to make it sound like I care a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can go over, before we just jump into these random factoids, I figured, you know, we could do a little updates on what's going on with us. How was your week?
You got me mid-chocolate in my mouth.
All right,
so go for it.
So maybe I should go.
Yeah.
My week was good. It was busy. So it was good. Work's been busier, but I've been feeling like I'm more on point. My 9 to 5, and I've been just kind of like busy, but good busy because I'm planning. I've been learning the hard way with some of my editing with multicams, with different cameras and all settings and all this stuff. But I'm figuring out what I want to do, so that's good. But I've been kind of struggling with getting this illustration figured out. I mean, we are on our second... well, we are done with our second artist.
Yes.
I've canceled 2 orders now. And most people be like, oh, is he being a bitch? Like, why did he cancel? You should give the guy time. I did. Like, each person got about a month. They said it was only going to take, like... both people said originally it was going to take less than 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally cool with extensions on for both of them. This time around, I tried to learn from my mistake, and I even before I even placed the order to give the guy more time, I showed him what I wanted to do. I communicated with him my ideas. He got back to me. His reviews were glowing, of course, which another bullshit illusion in our society now. These reviews. So, you know, and it's been complete opposite of what his reviews have been saying. I mean, the communication's been god-awful. He hit me up on, the extension was supposed to be due Wednesday of last week.
Mm-hmm.
And so Wednesday, I hit him up. I knew it wasn't ready when I had to reach out to him, and it was still, this person's in Indonesia, which, you know, to some people sounds hilarious. Like, why are you working your slaves like that? Well, they got to work, okay? But...
not only that, they're putting their services out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going through a company and whatever. You can save a little money, helping artists out. And by the way, I know they're from Indonesia. I'm not paying them 30 cents to do this. Like, it's actually a decent amount of American money that, like, I'm not converting it in my head saying they're really getting like $800. But my point is like, this is a real gig that even if it was domestically financed here, it should be considered like a respectable gig, and you should take it serious. And I just get really insulted when people don't take us serious.
Yeah.
It really eats at me.
Yeah, this is the second artist we have tried with this idea we have since, I don't know, December-ish. We had this idea.
Yeah.
And the first one was promising. I remember the first one was promising, but then it kind of fell through, lack of communication, and just excuses. And then the second one was promising also. But yeah, it's just what we've been learning here is that it's not maybe them specifically, but it's really yes, the communication is very important for us. But something that kills me is like, oh, if it's 7 days and then it's taking more than a month after, you know, we agreed on something and not to show any product. I'm like, bro, then how much serious you are. And what really kills me is when people like throw the excuse like, oh, we'll also have other projects. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's awesome. Good for you. And we were all for that. But you need to know how to manage your time.
Yeah.
And like, we're still paying you money. And it's not like, granted, we're not giving the money directly to the artist. I'm sure there's like the middleman.
So that's what the controversy with this website that we use, right? Is most of the time what I've been reading online is most people's complaints is on the vendor side, the artist side of it, where they're saying that the website holds the artist hostage with some of the clients. And I'm like, yes, I could see how that could get to that point. Like if I was shitty and they decided to do something for me and I didn't pay them and that worked out. But that's really on the artist as well, to be giving services for free. Like you should not be doing that. So you always got to read things with a grain of salt. You got to understand, okay, but who made the mistake? Regardless of how it's perceived, if you could have prevented it, then it's really your fault as well. And see, I don't think a lot of people like that. Everyone loves the blame game. So it's just like, redirecting all the mistakes to it being us being unreasonable and not understanding your disability, which once again, this is the second time I've gotten an elaborate reason why it's late. The first guy had a baby. His wife was in the hospital for 3 days. I mean, it's just like, dude, okay, wait, you had a baby in the middle of this project. Why did you take this project on if you have a kid on the way? Like
the due date was coming up soon.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it was that week, and he still took the project on. Father of the year, in my opinion. So yeah, that was that guy. This guy now is saying, and this fucking triggered me. Well, let's talk about being triggered, okay? Fucking triggered. Yeah, so I got fucking triggered because this guy said, I said that word like 6 times. This guy said, you don't understand. I have, gee, I don't want to laugh when I say it, but it's so ridiculous. I have depression and OCD. And I was so fucking frustrated because I shared him a link to our podcast. I shared him, and I'm not saying we're the gurus of the subject.
Yeah.
But if he did any amount of respectable research for his client, for his project, that gives you an idea of what we want and who we are, which is why I sent him that, he didn't even fucking look at it. So once again, it was just like, oh, cool. This is exactly what this project talks about. And your head's so far up your own fucking ass, you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
And then also, I said, I really don't appreciate you using the excuse of being depressed and having OCD. 90% of the world suffers from depression. Like, don't use it as an excuse for your shortcomings or your mistakes. It's not fair to anybody. And it's really not, it benefits you the least.
No, and if anything, like, I get it. We all suffer depression. It all, all these mental, we promote mental wellness and stuff, but don't use that as your excuse to, like, not do your work or not, like, don't use it as an excuse, dude. Like, hey, guess what, bro? I have depression too, but yet I'm still out there teaching 5 days a week from 8:30 to 4 o'clock every day, doing work. We're still here living our lives. We're still doing this podcast week after week while going through this. It's just noticing about managing, dude. And you know what? This is what we've been, some coping mechanisms we've been talking to people. It's been like, watch what you eat, manage your time, set realistic goals, so you can start feeling better about accomplishing stuff. Yes, does it feel shitty that you weren't able to finish the project? Sure. But guess what? Now you're making just yourself be worse, dude. And again, don't use illnesses as your excuse for being, 3 weeks late now? And literally when we say, like, being late, it still looks like you're giving us the first draft, very, very mock-up, no color, no change on revisions or anything. So it kind of sucks. It's not good. It's not good.
No, it's not good at all. But people are full of excuses, and it's like the main takeaways I've had so far this year has been just the amount of excuses people give everybody. I mean, even at my work, it's crazy how much we think people care why we're screwing up. And we focus so much on why we're screwing up, but we're not focusing on the fact that we are, like, what to do to not do that. Like, it's like, oh, forgive me. And it's like, but why aren't you trying to be better? Like, the whole point of this podcast, the whole point of us growing up too is learning, right? And getting better, improving ourselves. And I just feel so many people think, well, this is who I am and I am who I am. And I think that's the problem with society is some people think they learned enough. I think there's some people out there that really are like, well, this is who I am and this is what it is. And it's like, I don't believe that with anybody. I don't think human beings are absolutes. I think we're like clay, we're moldable. And it's crazy to think that people think otherwise. So,
that being said, let me tell you how my week is going.
Well, I was going to...
Oh.
Do you mind... I know this is so kind of rude. But let me take a quick break real quick. I got to adjust something.
Okay.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. We had a little mishap with Google. It decided to kick me out, and I lost my production notes. And I can't just improv this whole show.
Not no more. Not this level.
Not those days are gone.
No, but my week was pretty good, dude. Just readjusting, coming back from like having a couple of days off to going back. I feel like sometimes it takes. I love to do, and I think we had this conversation before because I think you like to do this too. When we go out on any vacation or on a road trip, I like to have, at the very minimum, like a whole afternoon of a buffer thing. Because I hate going, like, let's say I'm traveling from Mexico or something, or I get to my house like 8 or 9, 10 o'clock at night, just to shower, sleep, and go straight to work the next day. Like, I like having that
like
buffer zone. Yeah. So, just coming back from like that break was great. School is going. We're towards the last couple of months. It's crazy, dude. We're in March already.
Dude, that's crazy.
So legit was today. We're recording this on a Sunday to this, what, the 5th? The 6th?
Yeah.
And about 3, actually my student's last day, I think is exactly in 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, somewhere, I'm not sure if it's the 6th or the 8th, but all I remember is they finish school like on a Wednesday, and then we have teachers go back on Thursday and Fridays just to like finish up grading, submit grades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's crazy for me that we're already a quarter into the year.
Yep. Quarter done.
Yeah, get her done.
I feel like it's going quicker and quicker, right?
Yeah,
it's like, I know it's cliche every year, but like ever since COVID, I feel like it like really.
Yeah, it's gone really fast. Yeah,
sped up a lot.
And we're just getting older, dude. Like, we have friends getting married like crazy. We got friends having kids, and it's going, dude. And this week it wasn't so bad. Luckily, again, we hate to do this when they say like do all the work up front. Yeah. So that way towards the end, like you kind of like have more time to chill. And that's the case. Luckily, like I already know what I'm gonna. Luckily, my lesson for Friday, we weren't able to complete everything in the 55 minutes, which is fine. So that means when we come back on Monday, we're gonna do the last end of that and elaborate. So there's my Monday plan.
Yeah.
Tuesday, figure it out. We'll figure out the rest of the days. So it's going. It's going. That's all I can say. And I can't believe how fast things are like flying through.
Yeah, it's crazy. Quarter of the year's already done, and it's going to be a halfway point pretty soon.
Yeah.
Because the first 3 months have flown by.
It's going to be summer pretty soon.
Though, it's funny is March to June, I think, is the slowest months of the year, though. It's the slowest 3 months of the year.
For me, that and also like the month of September and October are so slow for me.
Yeah. But I'm saying too, because March through June, there's no milestones. There's unless you got your own personal like stuff, but like there's no like holidays really.
The only major holiday coming in is Easter in April.
Yeah, and even then, that's not really a big deal unless you're like a kid.
Not no more.
Or you're Catholic.
Yeah. And then like after that, it's not until the end of May for Memorial Day.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, once again, it's a respected grievance holiday, but it's not anything anyone ever looks forward to.
Yeah.
It's just, so that's what I mean. It's like pre-summer, because once June hits, June through August, everyone loves those months, and then like even September, like I understand it's slow probably because you're starting.
Yeah.
But like you still have Halloween and Thanksgiving, and it's kind of the fall season, which I think we both like.
Oh,
right?
and trust me, like after Halloween, it goes by fast. Next thing you know, it's like
because Thanksgiving to Christmas is a fucking blip.
Yeah, no, and not only that, as far as school, from education standpoint, like we get March 12th off. Oh, I'm sorry. October 12th off for Indigenous Day or Columbus Day, depending where you want to go with that. And then Halloween is like 2 weeks after that. Come back and it's like Veterans Day on the 11th, and then a week off for Thanksgiving, and then you come back and like, all right, Christmas break is in 2 weeks, and it's just like, what the like? It's just it's great. But it's just boom, 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 super fast, back to back, and then it's just like kind of like a slowdown. But some interesting thing happened during the week, and this kind of leads up to today's topics. Right now with the current situation going on with Russia and Ukraine, that seems to be everything the news talks about. And I remember when I was in Anaheim when I went to Disney. When this attack started, I remember we were getting ready, and you check your Instagram, you check your social media, and they're like, oh, Russia attack, blah blah. Started watching the news, and it's just like we're there, like getting ready for like an hour, and it's just like the news in the background, and then like. Throughout the week, same thing. Like I'll get home, I like putting something in the background. Sometimes I like putting the news in the background because it's nothing for you to actually see; it's more to like listen to. Yeah. So everything was like Ukraine, 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 and even this morning I made a comment like, Jesus, there's nothing else going on than that war. And then trust me, it's a horrendous, is a very sad situation going on.
But you're seeing a pattern.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then. Yesterday, I went to San Jose Earthquakes game. Started we draw, yay. And we were sitting next to like this group of fans called the San Jose Ultras. They're the ultimate fanatics of San Jose Earthquakes. They're out there singing the whole time. They're doing their thing, really bringing the environment to the stadium. And I'm telling this to my partner. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what they do. Blah 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 blah. And I told him how like, but this ain't shit. Like this, like they're cool, but this ain't shit. I was telling her how in England, like it's associated with hooliganism and like firms and like gangs and how they'll fight. And if you watch games, they purposely put the fans that come from like are rooting for the away team. They'll put them in a certain section with security, like literally circle around them, or even will like close off sections around them. To create like a buffer zone between them for security reasons. And, they get security escortation in and they get security to escort them out. We get home from that game and I turned on my Twitter and started reading about hooliganism and firms fighting in Mexico in the Mexican League. As you may or may not know, I know you know, Coop, but our audience.
I was debriefed.
You're debriefed. I'm a huge Mexican soccer fanatic. One of my older podcasts, the L3 podcast, focus on Liga MX. So everything on Twitter and a lot of things on my Instagram all associated with Liga MX. So I'm seeing this. I'm like, what the fuck happened? They're like, oh, sad videos from. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And I went down this freaking rabbit hole, dude, and just seeing images and videos and like reports of like this horrendous scenes that happened. Basically, the two opposite fanatic groups, they started fighting with each other. Yeah. In the stadium, there's no security and no police presence to stop it, and it's just started from something small to like it spread throughout the whole stadium, and it started like it got so bad that people started jumping into the field to fight, but also to seek for safety, specifically children and women and children seeking refuge. So it's a sad. Right now, there's, I think the last thing I read was 17 people dead. At least 17 people dead from these riots, basically, and then of course hundreds of people injured and all this stuff. But my point is, I'm seeing this, and I know what happened, and I'm like, oh my God, gotta get more. It becomes like this obsession to find out the most recent news and stuff like that. And so when we were having a pre-production meeting yesterday, we were like, hey, what we talk about this? I'm like, bro, I was just thinking about, like, I just became a victim. So Coop, you want to introduce the subject for today?
Yeah. So today I'm calling it Stop Spreading the News, which I don't know if you got the play on words that is.
I got that.
Yeah. New York for all my Frank Sinatra people. Yeah, because look, it's all just noise. And we're going to get into what I'm talking about, because a lot of people are like, okay, what do you mean, you conservative piece of shit? Yeah, well, guess what? Not only conservatives fucking hate on the media. Yes, the conservative groups coined the mainstream media thing that everyone is acting like only they use, but it's a term that makes sense. It is, like, especially music. There's the underground, then there's the mainstream. Yeah. Mainstream are obviously corporate conglomerates that are running these news companies. So mainstream makes sense, whether you want to like the people using the terminology or not. It's kind of like the whole climate change thing, whatever. Yeah. You can like it, you could dislike it, but there's science behind things. But I thought this was interesting. So I looked in because I wanted to do a little history, because, we do like our history.
Yeah, we do love our history. A little trivia, fun facts.
So I thought it was interesting because the birth of TV news was the JFK assassination. Wow. And isn't it weird, for all my weirdos out there, that the birth of TV news was also one of the biggest conspiracy theories that is still puzzling everyone? Yeah. Do you think that's a coincidence? Or do you think that was the birth of the I think information twist?
I think it's the twist of the information twist. And also, when you think about it, at that time, the media of television was still fairly new. Yeah. It was, what, 10 years?
Yeah, if that. But also, here's the thing that was interesting. This was like almost field reporting status. Yeah. And it was Walter Cronkite, who was the first TV reporter, who also covered the Vietnam War. So this is like cutting edge, because this is during the Cold War. This is during like huge nuclear war.
Yeah, being the at this point it wasn't much. The United States wasn't so involved in Vietnam.
Well, yet. No. I'm talking pre-Vietnam though.
So, okay.
So,
I'm sorry.
But he did cover that too. So we can get into that in a second. Yeah. But what I'm pointing out is that this Cold War scare is really no different than what the people back in the 60s were experiencing. I mean, what were we getting ready for? They would do air raid alarms. They would play the alarms, and then kids would do the duck and cover drills.
Yeah,
yeah. And then, like, anyone who's seen any like 80s, like Red Dawn, that's a great example of like a nuclear takeover. I mean, it's a fictional thing, but it also shows you like how like America and Russia and Cuba were kind of like in this weird point. And propaganda wise, it's not much different than now. It's like, it's hard to know what's real anymore for me. Yeah. So, we're gonna get into that too, because it's a subject on this, which is why we're mentioning the first TV reporter. We're mentioning how it came to be, and the reason why it was a benefit, though. Before I start just tearing it apart again, radio couldn't provide visual updates. So it was all words. Yeah. And newspaper, obviously words, wasn't fast enough with the printing and the editing. I mean, it's even if it's daily, you're a day late already. So it's like, you're just not fast enough. So TV had to come across. It's one of those things where they're like, oh, technology's so great. And it's like, yeah, but this is literally like, you probably got the most doctored version of news, especially since it was the first TV thing. I'm sure they were like, well, like, so was Walter Cronkite just going to be there to see JFK in the parade? I mean, maybe that's the whole thing. But either way, it is awfully creepy.
It is suspicious.
So I can't go out my first TV reporter without saying the first female TV reporter. Barbara Walters.
Yeah.
1976.
Wow.
So
hell yeah.
A little later, but she started her thing then too. She was already a writer, I believe, on ABC in the 50s. So she worked her way up, and then she definitely, made a name for herself. Definitely opened up the door for a lot of women in the industry, which is also always a good thing, regardless of your view of that person. Definitely breaking barriers is good. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to get into and start shitting on people. I got to stay on subject.
Stay in the pocket, homie.
And then some people will be like, okay, what are your examples of bad information? Well, I'm going to list just 3. I can list 12. But that's the thing. It's a spider web of companies. Yeah. Anyway, but these are the main 3. It's Fox, CNN, and MSNBC. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty much, those are the 3 main, because that's kind of what those are the 3 biggest.
Those are the 3 big
corporations.
Network
right.
televisions here at least in the United States.
Exactly.
And then depending which one you prefer, they like to.
Well, we're gonna get
Oh, okay.
That's
That's the next one. Those are the 3 top of the chains one with different, way different. What one say? Like they're in the way different spectrums of the.
But yeah, so then you could go into why are we saying they're untrustworthy, and then you could take the reins on that if you want, since you kind of already.
Yeah, well, it's on, because depending on what the subject matter is, it's the same news, it's the same information they're delivering to you, but just different point of views, and with different types of wordage, with different type of interpretation of the scene. So depending on where you lean, as far as like what you like to believe in your own political views and your own personal views, you kind of then you sort of start leaning one way and just getting your news from one source of media.
And what do you think that's called?
That's definitely political bias, sir.
Yeah, I would say so. Because
absolutely,
journalism is supposed to be integrity.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have integrity with reporting the facts. Now, we all know the facts don't support everyone involved. And that's a big part of the reason why the facts don't come out. Because you have to protect certain people that you're affiliated with. Political bias. So that's the problem with our information stream is regardless of whether you're like Fox News, most people in California would be like, fuck you, boo. And it's like, why is that? Because they would say they're conservative leaning. Now you go to CNN, a lot of people in the other states, or even some Northern California people, maybe not Southern California, but it's just like.
Definitely Central Cal.
You're going to get the political bias that they're all liberals and they just follow whatever they want. So, and then there's MSNBC, which are, to me, almost I don't want to say the lamest because I have my own least favorite, but they're one of the lamest just because they almost are like, we're trying to be cutting edge, but they're almost worse than both of them. So it's like, you're like the shitty little sibling that wants to be in on the fight. Yeah, it's like, get the fuck out of here.
It's the 2 powerhouse twins, and then it's like the younger sibling.
Hey, I have a stake in this. No, you don't.
I have an opinion.
Okay. But yeah, so once again, exactly. It's like, I'm going to get my information from my friends that only talk about and believe the same things I believe.
Yeah.
You're never offering any kind of opposition or any kind of, what gives you, when you talk to a person, and you truly have a conversation with them about something that you both don't necessarily understand, but you kind of talk, and there might be points where you might maybe argue lightly, but basically at the end of it, you educate each other on what each other thinks and maybe what you both kind of come to an understanding of what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. That's never going to happen if you're always just talking to the same people and you're always talking to the same people that believe in the same shit you believe.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not really learning anything.
You're learning
just
anything.
Recycling ideologies and recycling ideas over and over.
It's just a fuck fest for the same thoughts over and over again, man. Yeah. That's not benefiting anyone. No one needs that. It's not going to affect you. And that's, kind of going into the next subject, which is the echo chamber of the information that we're getting. I mean, you even said, it's like, you brought it up. It's like, okay, well, now it's Russia and the Ukraine. And that's why I asked you, did you see the pattern? And you said yes, because for the last 2 years, it's all been COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been having like world crises, and that is a world crisis, but we've been having other world crises with genocides in other countries, invasions, bombings, criminal activity, like on a terrorist scale that's happening now.
Yeah.
Also, that's not being talked about. But once again, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is all stuff that's being handpicked for the American people to absorb. And I believe it is our freedom and it's part of our freedom to decide whether or not that's information we deserve to know or not know. But it's been we're being treated like a child that they're like, we're gonna keep them away from this life as best we can, so they don't do the things that those other people are doing. And what happens when you do that with a child? The child immediately is like, well, why are you keeping this from me?
Yeah.
Now I want it.
Yeah.
And you're also getting the impression that, why are you fucking so obsessed with controlling me not to do this?
When you
is it going to benefit me knowing this information?
Yeah.
And not benefit you?
You know,
so it's just a really deep fucking mind fuck that you kind of go through with some of this shit, right?
A perfect example of this echo chamber, and this is like very vivid in my life, was 9/11. 9/11, I remember it so well. Not because of the events, but I just remember like the time of my life where it was, and how much those images is what we always remember. I remember it was on Tuesday. It's just like I do now in the morning when I was getting ready. I was watching the morning news, and they're talking about a plane crash, hit the World Trade. Oh, I'm like, oh shit, okay, that sucks. I understand. Like, it's New York, it's fucking far.
Right.
Go to school. I go to my first period or my first class. I was in I was in community college making up credits so I can graduate high school. So so it's a math class. A student walks in late, so I was like, "Oh my God, you hear about the news?" Blah blah blah. And they're saying how like the second plane crash, and then somebody like 10 minutes later, somebody else arrives. Oh my God, you hear the collapse? It's all over the news. Yeah. It's over the radio. And at the time, you either had a CD player in your car or a tape player, or you had the radio
FM thing.
Yeah. So whatever. Classes was canceled. Everybody told us to go home. I'm like, well, shit, hell yeah. It was like barely 9 o'clock our time, maybe a little bit earlier. I go home, and I remember like, okay, well, shit, let me see what the fuck is going on. So I turn on the news, and they're talking about 9/11, blah, 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 like, and just constantly the images. And I remember, like, the image of the plane crashing and then, like, the smoke and all those horrendous.
Collapsing.
Yeah. And I remember I'm probably seeing it for, like, 5 minutes. And then, like, I stopped because for me, the scene that really got to me, it was the videos of the bodies, people jumping off the buildings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people jumping off. I saw them like, dude, this is fucked up. I don't want to see a person's, like that, and then they were like,
their life.
Change it to another channel, same images. Change it. I shit you not, dude. They were showing it like on MTV, on fucking news channels, the Weather Channel, like channels that never showed news.
Yeah, I think even like Court TV.
Court TV, Paramount, like, whatever. I think at the time was called Spike TV or something.
Yeah, you're right.
They're showing that, like, all these different channels,
and that's because they're all owned by the same fucking people.
Even Nickelodeon was showing it.
Well,
Viacom, Viacom,
big one.
So they're showing it. And lastly, I settled for the Food Network. Because that was
Emerald's all bam 9/11.
No, it was Rachel Ray actually.
Oh,
it was Rachel Ray teaching me how to do a full-on 4-course dinner in 30 minutes.
Just enough time to watch the news. Yeah. And then she brings it up.
No, but that was the only channel that wasn't showing no 9/11 shit. Yeah. So and the thing with the echo chamber thing also, it wasn't just like one day. It was full-on a week.
Dude,
it was a week on, dude.
And weeks became months, and months became years, because what ended up happening was it was this full-blown, complete 24-hour war coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, all those news channels, CNN, and then I looked this up. CNN was actually the first network news channel to cover the Gulf War, and that's why in the 90s they got so much prominence.
Yeah.
Because they were the first ones to offer like on-site coverage of what's going on.
Yeah, like actual battles on TV live.
But once 9/11, I'm glad you brought that up, because once 9/11 happened, everyone was on board with it. Also, 9/11 was the birth of the ribbon, the World News Update ribbon shit on the bottom of the news.
Oh yeah,
like update, like updating news, and it would just be something else.
Yeah,
like apparently they started doing that on 9/11.
Because
like
they were. This was the main focus, and hey, this is also going on.
Okay, updates on whether we're going to war, and
and
like it became. This is the beginning of the data funnel for the common person, and boom, 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 and our lives have never been the same with the securities we deal with now that have changed the airports.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Just concerts. I mean, and now also just I don't know, what were you gonna say?
I was just it's funny, literally having this conversation yesterday as I'm passing the airport here in San Jose. We were seeing like all these companies, like the people that make the food, the people go and clean the airplanes, the people, all these other third companies that you really don't think about that help support an airport to work. We're saying like, dude, imagine how hard it is now, or how much security you have to go through just to get like a job like that. And then I'm like, dude, remember how back in the old days, pre 9/11, like you could go up to like the gate, and see like the plane take off from the gate,
and like walk your loved ones to the plane, pretty much almost.
Yeah, pretty much, like legit get inside the plane. All right, I'll see you later, and then walk out. Like it wasn't so uncommon. It was super like that was just a thing. Like security was just like it was a metal detector thing. Like just take off your pockets or whatever, go through a metal detector. And now like how crazy it is just to pass through TSA and pass through like security.
It's changed. It's changed a lot,
so much, dude. And I'm all for it, but I wish we can just tone down the security a little bit, or maybe not.
But and it's like, once again, like all these things that are catalysts for change with our news, with technology, with the way we perceive our news. It's always been around these historic life events that are never truly explained to us. Like 9/11, they say there's a lot of questionable theories, and there's never been like just evidence and things thrown out to say this is what happened.
Yeah.
It's been fishy. Same with JFK, and a lot of people were like, you watch too much X-Files. Maybe I do. Maybe I fucking do. But you know what?
But it's a great show.
Great show. But also, I wanted to say it like Trump, great show. No, but also it's just like annoying to me, because sometimes you got to ask questions. Like you can't just always be like, you can't always be following the rules you're not going to get an award for listening. Like this isn't kindergarten anymore. This is your life. This is like choices that you should be worried about, thinking about. This isn't just like, oh, cool. And I feel like we have a responsibility as individuals to interpret information, whether it's digitally or just auditorily or verbally with fellow human beings. Like you can't just take everything as like, it's got to be taken for what it's worth, right? It's got to be taken like with a grain of salt. It can't be like, not everything's face value. Like sometimes people offer information, it's not facts. But I feel like, why do we treat the news like it's facts? Is it because we've been hardwired to treat this just like, here's something that'll benefit you knowing, but at the end of the day, when we've gone back and crunched the numbers and the details, and we've realized that they lied to people like years and years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like 30 years ago, we're like, oh, they lied about that. And we're all just like, yeah, okay, well, that was just how it was.
Yeah.
But like, dude, 30 years from now, they're going to be talking about today. Like, they blew smoke up your guys' asses. And we're just going to be like, well, but that's what I mean. It's like, why is it acceptable when it's 20 years later and we're just like, well, that's just the way it was. But then right now, when people are refuting it, they're just considered crazy.
Yeah. And that's what always like struck me, like and Steph said this morning, like show now and apologize later, and it kind of reminds me, we all saying how, I'm not sure if you remember this event, and I'm not sure if y'all remember this event, but y'all probably, I'm pretty sure you can find this on YouTube. But a couple of years back, maybe 10 years ago, an airplane crash landing SFO. Like the landing gear wasn't there. I think nobody like got died or anything, because a plane had to do like a crash landing in SFO because something with their with their gear wasn't working.
Yeah.
And there's this famous thing where like somebody prank called some ABC and gave them like hella racist Asian names.
By the way, for the record, hilarious prank. Though.
It's hilarious.
It's
prank.
Fucking hilarious.
It's fucked up, but it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but it's so fucking funny though.
And it was like, oh fuck, we down, or like
a flute. I think it was like we too low or something.
Yeah.
Dude, it was fucking hilarious.
So these news anchors are like saying these names on like breaking news, blah blah blah, and then they're like
they're dead people that really died.
Yeah, and they're like, breaking news. This is the names of the pilots who were flying this airplane were fuck we low,
But see. To me, and I believe your point is,
my point is like they're so willing just to throw information out there without really checking, and some poor freaking intern, some poor intern probably got fired because it was like, he didn't check.
Guess what?
But everybody's so willing.
Fuck
to
the poor intern. He did his job wrong.
Yeah,
and that's how you get fired.
But you know what? Where's the fucking editors? Where's this other people?
No, that's true. But I mean, it's a fail on every level.
Yeah,
it's a fail on every level.
It's just like it proves how people like or news sources are like so quick to throw everything, and then if they do fuck up or something's wrong, then they apologize later.
No, or they don't apologize at all.
Yeah,
they put out a new story.
Yep,
it's water under the bridge.
And this is the let me sip some water.
There you go.
Hydrate. Hydration break if you're listening to this. Okay, and we're back. I was talking to you this morning in our pre-production coffee. Oh, you like that? We do a little coffee in pre-production.
It's nice.
It's a nice
little buzz, our morning buzz.
I was talking about how I am obsessed with the show Succession on HBO, and how that family, pretty much the family's like one of the richest families in the United States. They pretty much control all of like news media,
right?
And when the family or the company that owns all these medias are being under attack, investigated by the FBI for them trying to cover up like some bad shit, to distract them, to distract the pretty much the world from their issues, they release information. They flood all the news sources, information about the president to kind of distract the media, distract all the attention to them. And it's just so like, release this information. And it's just like, it's true. Like once like the next thing happens, you just don't get it from one place. You get it from you get it from so many different places. And it's mostly like the companies owning the same thing, which is monopoly, which is the same thing we're going to talk.
Well, yeah. And I was just going to say, I mean, you're being controlled to do things, to view things a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it's only benefiting these corporations.
Yeah.
Like, I personally feel like the news has been a distraction for us for the last several years. Like,
yeah.
Obviously since COVID.
But even before COVID.
But
yeah.
COVID was just when I think everyone understood, here we go. The news is no longer like even trying to be credible. They're just like, here's the information. Take it for what it's worth. Here's the information again. Take it for what it's worth. Here's another data point next week that's going to prove everything we said last week wrong, but we want you to still trust us and keep listening.
Yeah.
No, we'll be back tomorrow. And it's just like, it's constant. It's like they're all on cocaine and they just are like, they don't give a shit about what they're talking about. They're just talking. They're filling time. And it's like, dude, but you have to talk about things that make sense, and explain. Nope. No, it's literally like the kid who just rushes their homework at the end of the day.
And I freaking hate those.
They're just like, no, I did it. And it's like, no, but you literally didn't do shit. You just wrote words on a paper. None of this even makes sense. You didn't think I was going to read this? So and the saddest part, man, is that people eat this fucking shit up, dude. We're addicted to misery. We're addicted to chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, because I did look this up too.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just kind of, it's a psychology. It's because I'm like, why do people hate misery more than they love positivity? And it's true. They actually, the news actually did research on this. This is partially why it's crazy, but there's records of the news doing research case studies on like what's benefiting and what gave more viewers. And when they've done stories that were uplifting and positive, most people just tune out and didn't care. But a lot of people,
it's for mongering.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
No. But well, and I got a bunch of songs too that actually go along with today.
Oh, great.
But yeah, it's just it's crazy, man. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And you know, that was a segue to kind of go along with what we were talking about before. But yes, monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting fact too. By 2012, this is crazy. Only 6 companies controlled 90% of the U.S. media.
Bro, it's crazy. And I really didn't know this until I started working for Comcast.
Yeah.
Because once we started working for Comcast, they're like, oh, yeah, Viacom. Like, I didn't know who the fuck was Viacom before that. And then I realized, well, they own, you know, all these Paramount, Nickelodeon.
Disney. No, they don't own Disney.
They own Disney. No one can own Disney.
No, Disney owns Disney.
Yeah. No one makes me bleed my own blood.
Yeah.
But Disney Corporation is like excellent, and by all means, Disney's like super evil corporation.
Yeah, and that's ABC News.
Yeah, ABC, ESPN.
ESPN. Jeez.
Star Wars, freaking all of Lucasfilm, Marvel.
No, it just sounded funny because we're talking about real shit, and then you're like Star Wars.
Hey, Star Wars is real, bro.
No, I know, but that Millennium Falcon, dude. It just was hella funny sounding.
Go into the Star Wars land in Disneyland. You tell me it's real.
They did my boy Han dirty. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, they should have never killed him, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hella drama in the galaxy far, far away a long, long time ago.
Should have been far, far, far away.
Yeah. No. Anyways, but yeah, like these companies own like back to this in more serious part. Like, they also own like Nat Geo,
right?
You know,
right.
Paramount owns, I don't know, the animal. I think they own the Animal Planet, no? Or that's probably
actually, I think Paramount owns like National Geographic, Nickelodeon, MTV, NBC. They own one of the major networks, the one that, because Viacom basically became Paramount. Well, yeah, Viacom. Well, no, Paramount's a sub thing of Viacom, just like how Nickelodeon is. But yeah, Viacom's like one of the major things.
Yeah.
But it's it's never settling when you understand that there's like, it's like no different than Godfather. They had the 4 families and shit, and it's just like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a good example, but either way, it's like you don't want this small group controlling 300 million fucking people.
Yeah.
Like what 350 million roughly live in the United States. So you got 6 companies controlling that information for those 300 million people, let alone other countries that consume our
our
news as
media,
well, which would be like Europe maybe and parts of China. Maybe.
Yeah. Canada.
But
maybe.
But yeah, no, it's unsettling when you realize that, and then you look back and even newspapers, right? I mean, it was like Rockefeller and like William Hearst and shit, or like the
well, like if you go back to that big monopoly stuff, like in the turn of the century, like you had J.P. Morgan, owning everything, the Rockefellers. I mean, the whole railroad company was owned by like 4 people.
Did you hear? I read this conspiracy the other day that the J.P. Morgan company was the ones who fucking shut down Tesla's inventions because he was figuring out free energy.
Yeah,
for people to do instead of having to rely on big companies, and they were just like, no, that's our livelihood.
No, because I know Tesla, not Tesla the company, Tesla, like
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, he was finding a way where we can transfer electricity without any wires. Like through airwaves and shit. And,
right.
He was trying to work on that, but
he was putting a whole industry out of business, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that's innovation, man.
Yeah.
And once again, kind of like the news, who's benefiting from who's getting hurt by this?
And I mean, right now, everybody, I love the one thing I love about the internet is the fucking memes, and they go, and right now they're using a lot of the Forrest Gump one where he goes, and just like that, people stopped caring about coronavirus, and now they're all gas experts. You know, now they're all talking about like because gas is fucking ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie, living here in California, is ridiculous how expensive gas is. But I'm like, this is what happens when you rely so much on gasoline. There is other ways of like,
but no, it's because it's marketably raped.
Yeah,
they price gouge gasoline.
No,
everyone knows that's the reason.
And I love that.
But, I mean, alternative fuel sources, of course. But here's the thing: you don't think they're going to monopolize the energy aspect of that? So it's going to be the same thing. That's the thing, people. We're not.
It's just one thing replacing with the other.
Exactly, and we're not saving the planet with electrical cars. We're not. People think we are, but here's the thing: what do we do with the batteries?
Yeah, you throw them out there.
There's nowhere to go. They got to go. What are we going to throw them in space? Or are we going to throw them in the earth?
Well, it's funny, dude. Do you ever look at apps like the space apps and shit like that?
Oh, with just all the space junk we have?
Yeah, so much space junk. Like literally just junk out there.
But that's what I mean. So we're just going to throw more lithium shit in space and be like, deal with it, you fucking alien piece of shit.
Yeah, deal with it, Tom DeLonge.
Don't worry, in 30 years we'll have space janitors to clean all that up. Fucking Futurama. We're all like middle class space janitors now.
Futurama, the Jetsons.
We're all gonna be like benders, dude. But that's what I mean. Like it's all like it's like prepping us for our middle class. Like you're gonna be middle class forever, fuckers. Like you're never gonna do anything. Because once we realize we can't stay on Earth anymore, then we got to go into space. Well, now you got to clean that shit up before you can live out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, dude. It just I feel like it's always politically incentivized. Like it's always been that way though. Like why was weed demonized in the
with fucking reefer madness like in the 30s or 40s?
It was because hemp was putting paper. Hemp was going to put paper out of business. It was cheaper. It was easier to work with. And cheaper was the main thing.
Yeah.
Cotton is not cheap.
Yeah, and is very labor induced.
Yeah, and it just made no sense. It's just like it, but it makes sense for people to make money, and the news is no different now. Like, what? Here's my question with this whole Russian thing, because I'm not going to get too deep in it, but I'm going to ask a question that I'm confused on. How does it benefit anything by cutting off like Visa, MasterCard for people in Russia?
It doesn't really help.
But I mean, what is it? It's really only hurting the people. Mm-hmm. And the thing I don't understand right now, what we're doing is I've seen this. I've seen family members that are just complete idiots. They're posting things like it's 1980 and Rocky just came out. Like, fuck Russia. Like, no, it's not fuck Russia. No, these people have nothing to do with this shit. It's like, could you imagine if people were mad at us for fucking carpet bombing the Middle East for 20 years?
Yeah.
Like, you fucking pieces of shit. You did that. I'd be like, I didn't even know they did it.
Yeah, because they
never fucking did, but it's not like they told us about it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, once again, it's like we're taking this fear bait and they want us to hate Russia. They want us to sympathize with the Ukraine. None of us even know what the fuck that whole situation has to do with anything.
Yeah.
We're all just jumping in because of what was said to us, what so-and-so might have done, what so-and-so might not have done.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's like, I don't believe these things because the same people that told us these fucking lies for the last 2 years domestically, now all of a sudden we're going to believe their international expertise.
My thing with that is, and I think I even brought this up last week, like prior to like this invasion happening, students were asking me like, oh, Ms. Brencourt, I'm like, dude, honestly, I have no idea what the hell's going on. I don't know what they're fighting. Like, I don't know what they're fighting about. I'm not
Overnight,
sure
everyone cared about the Ukraine, dude.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And I'm like, I'm not sure what happened. Like, I honestly don't know what happened or what's going on or what actually Russia is fighting for or anything. Now I kind of maybe know a little bit better.
But to ask you, like, before you really noticed it just being smacked on us, did you know anyone that was talking about Ukraine being bullied, Russia? Was it ever anything that even was brought up?
Listen, a full-scale invasion like this did not happen overnight.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
And it didn't even happen, at the beginning of the year when, when the news started reporting that Biden was saying, like, oh, keep an eye out. I'm pretty sure it happened a year before even it was reporting for a full-scale like that. But no one batted an eye.
But that's what I'm saying. And you got all these people that are out here putting the fucking profile images as the flag.
Yeah.
Acting like they care. And it's just like, but that's not real. You guys are literally just doing this for clicks. You guys are doing this for people to think you have a heart of gold.
Yeah.
But it's like at the end of the day, you're not doing shit for these people.
No.
You didn't care about them 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But now because it's trending information, you have to care.
Yeah.
It's just like people are so fucking sheeple. Like it's scary how much they just follow exactly what they're told to do.
People are so quick to follow a trend.
It's scary, dude.
Yeah.
It's not even just, and now it's with everything. It used to be just with like fashion and like people would just be like, oh, well, here you go. And no, now it's everything. It's your religion.
Dude.
It's like all we care about is fascination with like celebrities.
You're saying perfect. Remember when we were young, back in our days?
I hardly do.
With the,
I gotta really think about it.
The Live Strong band.
Oh yeah, the Lance Armstrong stuff.
Yeah, how fucking like everybody fucking wore that.
Oh yeah, the little rubber.
Everybody, yeah.
And exactly, what was that doing? Saying that you donated money to a cause.
Yeah.
It was like a receipt to show off that you, and that's a great example.
That you're more righteous than somebody else.
It's such a vain way to be like, I did my part.
Yeah.
Look, everyone, I did my part.
100%. Something I hate also is like when people donate money to like a homeless or something, and they recorded themselves doing it,
or like or they'll like throw dirt on their knees and then like shake their hands.
Yeah, I'm like, why, dude? I'm like, just do it. You people, you're allowed to do things that you enjoy without telling the world. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I never post. Of course, dude, I'm posting things. Like
now I want you to like find a guy that's asking for money, and you have to take a picture with him like you're the governor.
Yeah,
just be like, and then send it to me. No, you don't have to do that. Look, I helped a guy out today.
Hey, look, I helped some guy out. I gave him $2. You know, like
it turns out he thought I was kidding and he stabbed me. I'm in the ER.
I'm in the ER, please.
I mean, like, I'm in urgent care. We're good.
I may not be coming in next week, though.
I might not make it.
I might not make it, just FYI.
We'll do it at the hospital.
bring my Zoom stuff. Bring my recording equipment.
Fuck yeah, dude. We'll do it.
But no, I think that's like one thing is that we love to follow trends. We love to see what's trending. And it's kind of like, oh, if you're not with us, you're against us kind of mentality.
100%. Yeah.
And like going back to Russia, like poor Russian people they have no control.
No, we
have
don't.
No say.
As Americans, we don't have control either.
Like at the end of the day, like we can go and protest, no war. Like we were doing in the early 2000s when Bush decided to invade the war on terrorism.
Yep.
And they were out there marching and all this shit. And you know what? We just barely stopped that last week or last year.
I don't even know if that's even true.
Yeah, it's true.
But exactly. And no one's even batted a lash at the fact that is exactly history repeating itself with using an excuse like the Ukraine to just get in there and get our hands dirty again. Yeah. And it's just like, what are we doing? Clearly it's not helping someone. Also, did you see, I'm getting a little tin hatty, did you see a lot of the Ukraine employs and funds neo-Nazi shit?
I have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do they explain that one?
Yeah. Really?
No one's talking about that. And it's crazy. And that's why I'm having a trouble. I'm not saying Putin's a good guy. Trust me, I'm not a sympathizer. Yeah. I'm also not, as many people might believe, I'm not a conservative. But like I do share views from either side. And I have I feel like it's a misinformation we're dealing with, regardless of your political affiliation and who you trust. We're being lied to, everybody, and it's not helping you. It's not helping you by absorbing that, and that's really the whole point of this. It's like we're not benefiting from this fear. What are we doing? Like, let's just run down a day. Like, okay, so basically, we're understanding that this country's under like invasion. We're seeing all these things now. And it's like, what is that supposed to make us do? Is that going to help? It's like over and over again, you brought up with the 9/11 thing. It's like, is that benefiting us to see this tower burning for 24 hours?
Yeah.
And it's just like hard wiring you to just feel like we're at war all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's not good. It doesn't help you out. But the other thing that's fun about technology, Danny, is the whole clickbait era of information now. Because as soon as the internet took storm with, updating news, and because the internet news really didn't start after 9/11. It was a few years after that, because Google wasn't even as big then yet.
No.
And YouTube wasn't as a big deal either. So
there was just up and coming.
Yeah. So once they took off, man, the birth of internet news was talk about instantaneous information.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you mentioned earlier just about fact checking. I mean, now, because every 10 minutes there's a new story, you can go on Daily Mail, you can do all Washington Post, anything like you follow, New York Times. You're going to see new information now, even from these publications that used to be daily or weekly. Some of them, they're doing hourly updates on stuff. So it's become something, and that's not by accident. So everyone knows the internet's based on clicks, right?
Right.
Your ads that you sell on your YouTube videos or your website, it's based on, okay, you click the video, you watch the ad, they get paid.
Yeah.
It's no different for the news. So what do? They got to suck you in, with these headlines that nowadays, the headline used to mean this is a brief subject, but also something to get you interested to read the article.
Yeah.
Now it's, here's some fluff to get you to read the article. It might not even 100% pertain to what you're reading about, but it's just to get you in the door.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's no different than straight up misdirect, like sleight of hand.
No,
it's
that,
like
but people now
shady.
base their whole opinion on just the headlines.
Yep, and you don't even read the stories anymore.
You don't read the whole story.
Oh, Ukraine invaded by Russia. Oh, yeah, it's just like, okay, cool. So, World War III. Oh, Russia takes over a nuclear power plant. It's just like, dude, what are you trying to make us fucking feel? Like, do you want us to feel the world's going to blow up? And then, like, the politicians aren't really giving us much peace of mind.
Yeah.
Which, big surprise. But see, and that's the other thing. Even if it was a Republican in office right now, we'd be in the same boat. Because I truly feel that it's not really one way is better than the other. I think that this is kind of pre-decided in a lot of ways. And they're going to do, the American government's going to do what the fuck they want to do, regardless of how we feel and regardless of whether we think it's right or wrong. And I'm old enough to understand that that's real. Like, it's like we're just no different than the people in Russia.
No, we're not.
We're living through choices that other people are making for us.
Yeah, and people who, and unfortunately the ones who are going to get their hands dirty are the regular Joes like me and you.
Yeah. But I mean, so in a nutshell, freedom of press, which at one time protected, our information stream, has now grown it into a fucking power or just a monster. It's an abuse of power of information now.
Again, conspiracy theory time, because
let's screw the hat on.
Let's put the hat. Let me put my hat on really quickly. I love AM Coast to Coast. I love that shit. I love anything paranormal, UFOs. I'm in. And one of the most famous clips is you have some dude call in pretending to be a worker from Area 51. And have you seen that one? It's like,
no.
Okay, so he pretends, some dude calls in saying he's a worker from Area 51. It's
right.
Like, oh my God, there's a full scale invasion coming in. Like, nobody, like, the government knows about it, but they're not warning the people, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, within 20 seconds, it shuts down. The AM, the radio, like, shuts down. They lose power. And then they come back, and he's like, the first time in like 20, 30 years, like that's the first time where everything like gets shut, where we got completely shut out of the air, like nothing happened. Yeah, later it was a hoax. It was just a guy calling, pretending, but like it's just a coincidence that as he's saying this, boom, like it wasn't just that the call dropped, it's that even the radio station even lost power,
and the radio and it's like, come on, do you really believe the FCC fucked up? Like, they definitely choose what's able to be played and what isn't, because if you go on the air, even if you're like a respected radio individual that works for a radio station, not like a Joe Rogan or someone that's privately got their own thing.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like someone who works for like Cumulus, or it's not Cumulus now, it's like Odyssey now, but whatever, one of those Comcast companies.
Yeah.
You're at the mercy of whatever they want you to say.
Yeah.
So if you start spouting off, like, I mean, a perfect example is Frank Somerville. Like, if you start, whether you agree with the guy or not, like,
Yeah.
If you start spouting off opinions, right or wrong, and it affects the way the news is portrayed, or the company who owns the news, you're gone.
Yeah.
So they're just going to take you out. But that's, I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like, well, if it was complete nonsense, why shut it off?
Yeah, exactly. So there,
you could have let it play and presented it as satire.
Yeah.
Like literally a joke.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, like War of the Worlds radio show. We could have been like, that was a fictional play. Thanks for everyone participating. Yeah, I mean, they could have covered it up so much easier than just turning it off and making it seem like they're saving us from the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, people that are weird like us are going to obviously think you're lying to us.
And we're going to freaking that's our clickbait right there. We're going to.
I immediately think, because everyone thinks that way with the law, right? Everyone says, well, if you're not guilty, then you got nothing to hide. That's always the common rule, right?
Yeah.
It's like, how is this any different?
Yeah.
It's like, if you got nothing to hide, then why'd you shut it off?
Yeah, what's shut it off for?
It's like, to me, that feels like a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, even if you're not lying, I'm assuming you're lying. Because that's not an honest way to behave.
Yeah.
Like, if you were always like with Monica, if you were always just like, oh, forget it. You know, it's just like, eventually she's going to be like, no, that's fucked up. You can't just be like, forget it.
Yeah, you can't just be like.
You can't just be like, I'm done.
Yeah, ride a freaking big-ass emotional wave and just be like, oh, don't worry about it.
No, we're good. I fucked up.
Yeah, no.
I'm not going to apologize.
No.
It's just who I am. No, but that's what I mean. It's like, what? We don't let each other behave that way, so we shouldn't let these corporate fuckers behave that way either.
Yeah. There has to be accountability, homie.
Yeah, we need Batman, dude. He's the hero we deserve.
And that we didn't know we needed.
Yep. I mean that.
Have we...
We need more than one Batman, though. We need like 100 million of them.
We need an underground society to be...
Dude, just...
The Bat Gang.
One Batman would get fucked up in this world.
He'll get so...
He could do dead. Gotham. Maybe he could do one city. Maybe.
But even then...
Give him an Oakland. Have him deal with the homeless. Fuck everything else. Fuck the gang violence. Just dealing with all the homeless people. He'd be like, I'm done, dude.
Dude, imagine one Batman for like the city of LA. Impossible.
Dude, it would be funny if the real Batman came out and all the Hollywood Boulevard fake Batmans wanted to beat him up. Like, fuck you, man.
For stealing the spot.
I wanted to do a good Mexican accent, but I gave up on it.
Wow, thank you. Listen.
It wasn't for your benefit. It was because it wasn't a good accent.
Listen, I'm going to tell you like this. You're going to need at least 5 Batmans for San Francisco. At the very, like Bruce Wayne.
Don't do it during Folsom Street Fair.
Oh, God.
Batman would not win that one either.
He's not winning that. He'll just join the party.
He'd be walking on his knees and with a gag on, just like everyone else.
Tied with a
with the choker.
With the choker.
With a leash.
Oh, God.
Just Robin's walking Batman down the street.
Oh, God.
Robin's in heels.
Oh, God.
Now, this would all actually happen in San Francisco, so I don't think any of that sounds abstract.
It doesn't. Unfortunately,
that sounds like a Wednesday.
Unfortunately, it doesn't sound. I have a lot of vivid memories of San Francisco. This is completely random, but let me go and do this real quick.
Get this one out.
I went to Slim's to see Tiger Army. Are you familiar with Tiger?
Yeah, I've heard of Tiger Army.
Yeah, they're from San Jose, whatever. At the time, the person I was dating was really into like that style of music, like the rockabilly, and I'm a poser when it comes to that style. I can pull out the rockabilly style, but it's not my taste.
I hear you.
I'm a fucking screamo, emo, hardcore kid.
You're not into always the upright bass and the.
Can we just get different? Can we just get a different fucking bass line than?
Yeah, Stray Cats or Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen is always what I think of, like rockabilly. Like, it's not really even rockabilly, but that's like style.
That's the style. Yeah. And can we stop playing freaking all hollow guitars, please? Can we?
Oh yeah, the semi hollows.
Yeah, the semi hollows.
And it sounds like the Ren and Stimpy theme song every time. With your stupid bolo tie, get out of here.
Script the Stray Cats with my girl.
Oh, just shoot me.
Anywho, that's besides the point. That's besides the point. I get to San Francisco, And this is at the good old Slims. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
So I'm outside waiting for this girl I was dating at the time to get there. So I'm waiting for her. I'm having a cigarette outside of Slim's. I was smoking cigarettes at the time. Yes, very
cute.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Having a cigarette, and then from I think it's Harrison Street that crosses Slim's. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm seeing some dude walk by. This guy must have been like mid-50s. Okay. This dude, this is San Francisco, like in November. So it's chilly at night.
Cold,
it's chilly at night. And this says a lot about this dude. This guy had boots.
Yep.
A fucking little biker hats. Little biker leather, like the Wild Ones type of fucking hat.
Oh, you're talking like a Rob Halford hat.
Yeah.
Like a officer hat kind of thing.
Yeah,
like the leather.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little collar.
Oh, okay.
And that's it.
So just can I ask a follow-up question? You might not have noticed. Prince Albert.
No Prince Albert. No.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
a guy like that you would think would have
no Prince Albert.
He was walking to get one.
Listen, I'm having a cigarette and I like giving credit where credit is due. Remember, mind you, it's cold. It's cold. It's like 50 degrees.
So he was showing out still in the cold weather.
Homie was packing.
Yeah. Holy fuck.
This person is definitely was a shower.
Holy shit, man. Good for him.
And I'm like, I remember I took a drag of my cigarette and I turned to the bouncer and he kind of looks at me and I'm like, damn. I mean this literally. Also, I'm like, I told the guy, I'm like, I mean this literally also. That fool got some fucking balls on him. Like to walk down just hella cold, just boots all by himself. And just like that, I'm like, wow, that's freaking, that dude got some big ass balls.
You know, when I'm in situations like that, I would be like probably like you about it. We'd be like, oh, but then we'd be like, haha, and then or whatever. But I always want to be with my really homophobic friends because watching them cringe makes me so happy. Yeah, I'm a piece of shit clearly, but like if I'm like, they'll be like, oh, dude, come on, what the fuck? They're hella put off by it. Yeah, I'm like, dude, it's just a dick. I mean, it's not like he's shaking it in front of you. Yeah, but it makes me laugh because I get it. Because I think culturally, it's like vagina, breasts, beautiful art. And it's like dick, balls, rape. And it's just like, I get it. Okay, I get it. It is a little more of maybe it seems like more of an aggressive piece to be walking down the street with. But like, man, when it's cold and that thing's moving like a flag in the wind. Yeah. I got to say.
Good for him.
I almost want to be like, all right.
Hey.
Hats off to you, sir.
Salute.
If I had that thing hanging between my legs, I'd for sure walk with a little more pride.
Long story short, I want to see Batman take care of that.
Long story, not short.
Not short. Dude, Batman would have a hard time.
Oh, there you go. Another one. We're walking right into these.
These sexual innuendos are crazy today.
Yeah, I think we're clearly enjoying this part of the. Yeah, the mood has completely changed. Like as soon as we mentioned naked dick hanging in San Francisco, we're already like, this is so much better than the news.
Yeah. This
is actually what they should be talking about.
Yeah, this is the. This is the type of happy news we need to hear about.
You know what we need to do? We need to write our senators. This is what people do, right? When you're upset with something, you write them like they're gonna read it. But what would be a fun change is like for every 4 shitty fucking stories, you have to put out 2 fucking nonsensical happy ones. Yeah. Like, and even if it means misinformation to the Onion, because the Wall Street Journal has lied to us more than once, right? Mm. So what do we care?
I just read an amazing article on Hard Times. You ever read the Hard Times?
I believe I've seen something.
So Hard Times for our listeners is kind of like the Onion, but with like rock music, specifically like the scene that we're in. So satire rock music, and some of it is some shit is fucking hilarious because you're like, yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah. And the one I was reading on Friday was Foo Fighters was playing, and Dave Grohl pulls somebody out from the audience, and it turns out it was Dave Grohl. He pulled out Dave Grohl to play guitar, and then the real Dave Grohl was playing drums.
It's like a fake Dave Grohl.
that's scientists still cannot figure out according to how was that Dave Grohl pulled out Dave Grohl from the audience.
New conspiracy theory
to play a Foo Fighters song, and then the Dave Grohl who was on stage ended up being on drums. So it's just Dave Grohl being Dave Grohl all over Foo Fighters.
Maybe. Or like Paul McCartney. He's not Dave Grohl.
Oh no.
I just thought of it.
They did a pretty funny Paul McCartney one, and he said that people started walking out at the Paul McCartney show after the 5th hour of Paul McCartney playing Hey Jude, and it just goes on how he was like really far, like, all right, all firstborns, your turn. So they can do like nah, and then it's like he's all. It was great until he started saying the most random things like everybody owns a black cat now, So it's like the 5th hour of the Hey Jude chant going along, and I'm like, that's fucking funny because I will totally be 6 hours. I'll pay to see 6 hours of Hey Jude if Paul McCartney's there, real or fake.
How much are tickets? Like several $100s?
I didn't look because I
don't look either.
Yeah, I didn't look.
I gotta win those tickets. But speaking of which, I'm like, I'll win them. I ain't gonna pay.
I have to win them.
Yeah, but dude, it's true. Same with Aftershock. I'm like, I'll go if I win.
Oh, dude, 4 days.
The lineup is fucking great.
It's insane. The lineup, dude. It's insane. Let me see how much. We're getting way too sidetracked here.
Are we though? But this is exactly what the media does to us.
How come the news doesn't tell me how much are tickets for Paul McCartney?
We're pulled in every which direction. So this is a perfect example of how to get ourselves out of these ruts, right? And that's kind of what I was going to touch on is some healthy alternatives. Like at the end of the day, guys, this information is going to be there with or without us. Whether we read it, whether we don't read it, things are going to be happening. Things are going to happen. So just because you know a nuclear bomb is going to launch, guess what? You're toast. So just enjoy what you got right now. Start improving yourself. So let's do that. Let's look through some of these healthy alternatives. I really liked this first one a lot because once Danny's done looking at Paul McCartney tickets.
I'm looking at the cheapest right here is $184.
That's probably nosebleeds.
Oh, yeah. This is Oakland Coliseum, and this is section 220. So you're not even in front of the stage. You're like on the side towards the back of the stage for Paul McCartney. So he's not even going to look at you the whole time.
That's kind of what I expected pricing-wise.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not so crazy.
Yeah, decent.
If he was at Chase, it would have been even more.
$500.
Yeah, that's standard, I think.
We're good.
All
we're
right.
good. All right, we're good from Paul.
But I was thinking some healthy alternatives to kind of just get you back in a better psyche state of mind, because it's just we get ourselves. Even when you watch a sad movie, you put yourself in a funk. Well, the news is no different.
Yeah.
You can't start your day digging a hole. So I like this one a lot because it's a super good just way to level yourself and feel balanced. Get in touch with an old friend.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to someone that is gonna like bring back memories and happy thoughts, and you might even rekindle something. Like I say this all the time. Like when I have podcasts with other people and guests, like on the Stoop Kid podcast. It can reignite a project. It can reignite. I mean, even doing the Stoop Kid podcast with you, it gave birth to this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a gateway drug for a lot of my hobbies and my happiness. So I'm just gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep using.
Yeah.
And but it's getting in touch with old friends is great because it reminds you. Sometimes it gives you perspective on things because your memories might be a little skewed, and it's nice to hear a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then that also gives you perspective on life, and then that might rekindle a cool relationship, and, you might have babies with this person. You never know. Male or female. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Those lines are blurred.
The science is there.
There's another one that's fun. Play games online with friends. I recommend online poker so you can lose money, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just get a gambling addiction. Start drinking.
Put the title to the house.
All of that is better than the news, people.
Wow.
Substance abuse. I mean, you're going to do it anyway. You might as well not watch the news while you do that bump.
Play games online with friends. Dude, that can destroy some friendships also.
Yeah, there's a lot of sore losers out there. I like that because there's some fair people out there. I think there's some fair people that listen to this. they might benefit from a little Connect 4. Maybe some Jenga.
Connect 4.
Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be fucking risk.
Talk.
You know, Monopoly is not a game you play with strangers.
No.
You got to kind of have a rapport with those people, but not too much either, because then it becomes personal.
And then you also, same thing with like Uno.
Yeah, there's never just one, is there, Danny?
No.
There's always more than one problem with that game.
Oh, and then I saw a meme where it says, like, I get my news from memes. That's where I get my news from. It says, Uno is a game where you got to convince everybody else what the rules are. Because people are just making up rules as they go.
That makes sense, because I still don't know, and I don't think I've ever played a full game. So I would get totally swindled, but I wouldn't be putting money on a game I didn't know how to play.
Yeah.
So I'd be just losing for sport, and then I would figure out they're lying to me later, and that's how I would exact my revenge. I'd make them play Mousetrap. Like, yeah, you set this fucking game up and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. You're
going to fucking hate yourself when you get to that last step just so you can play the game and it all collapses. Yeah. Fuck that game. It looks cool as fuck on the on the box.
Commercials,
like, oh, this is sick, dude. Little trap game.
You know which game I always wanted to play? Crossfire. I would play money on Crossfire.
Michael had that game, and I don't remember it that. I know what it is. I don't remember playing it, so I'm with it. I think what we need to do is we can't go out of our way to buy one, but if we can be at a store at a Goodwill one of these days, and we'll see it cheap. Maybe I'd press for it, and we could do it on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah,
that'd be some good podcasting.
Crossfire.
We could talk about we'll pick up opposing views on things, and then we'll like have a crossfire to see who wins.
Who wins? Okay,
it has nothing to do with who's better at arguing. It's just purely on crossfire.
What's better, hot dogs or hamburgers? All right, fuck it.
Yeah, but real world problems too. Like, we're not just going to be talking about silly things. We're going to be like, no, we're solving crises with crossfire.
This sold. I like it. That's also the way it should be done.
Crossfire goes pretty good with the news thing, because Crossfire was one of the first talking heads news programs that was, I believe, on MSNBC.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's important. Yeah. Because the talking head thing is now everywhere.
Yeah.
Another thing to distract us from talking heads. Talking heads. No, that's a good band. No, I was gonna say exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a tough one for people, and myself included. But remember, routine and repetition is the most important thing.
And when you say exercise, it's not like hit the gym and freaking go gorilla lifestyle. Right. It's just like, yo, go for little walks here and there. Take the stairs, baby steps. Be realistic.
Build a routine, like you're saying, like, sure, you can get to running or jogging, but start with the walks.
Yeah.
Because once you do the like, okay, I'm going to do a walk twice a week. Cool. Do your walk twice a week. That's going to become 3 times a week, and pretty soon it's going to be daily, because you're going to be understanding that fresh air, that exercise, that blood flow moving and pumping. It's going to help you. You're going to feel better. And if you can, have sex, because let's be honest, who doesn't like a little sex now and then, huh?
A little sex.
And at least some endorphins. You have a little kissy, whatever. But like at the end of the day, and then you can have a little sandwich, post-coitus sandwich maybe.
Which is the next. Which is the next
advice. And it actually is great. I want you to say it, because it word for word, because it goes perfect with what we're talking about.
The next one is experiment in the kitchen.
Could mean sexually too.
It could. Why not?
Why not?
Hey, but try the recipe. You know what though?
Follow the recipe. Yeah.
Follow the recipe, or try the new recipe. I kind of messed up. Oh, I haven't messed up, but I've told myself one of my goals is I want to learn how to make an old fashioned.
Oh.
I don't know how to make an old fashioned. I have the ingredients to make it. I need to watch a YouTube video.
So you have not yet done that?
I have not, but I want to learn how to make an old fashioned, because those shits are hell expensive. A nice cocktail bar.
And you know what? I think it's a very simple drink to make. I think it's like 3 ingredients. I don't think it's much.
I forgot what was. I know it's like simple syrup and some like
maybe simple syrup, bourbon, and usually I think some people use like, was that one orange liqueur, Cointreau or whatever?
Yeah,
Cointreau or whatever it's called. It's the best cocktails are normally few ingredients.
Yeah,
and
less is more.
You. Yeah, less is definitely more. I love old fashions. That is probably one of the best. One of the best cocktails that's not masking the alcohol so much.
Yeah,
because if you get like a mojito, you're not tasting the rum. You got the. I love mojitos though.
Yeah, I love mojitos.
But like, it's masking like margaritas, mojitos. You're not tasting the tequila and stuff. So That's what I like about bourbon is you're still getting the bourbon flavor, but without so much of the bite. And the orange really goes well with it.
It's a smooth drink. It's harsh but smooth.
Great drink.
Yeah.
But that would count as learning a new skill too. You know what? Instead of talking about it, Danny, I think when you leave here, do you have any bourbon at home?
I do have bourbon. I'm telling you, I have all the ingredients.
Oh, well, you have no excuse.
It's just laziness.
It just needs to happen.
All right.
And that's the thing too. This could be, this is between you and God, dude. You can do a little nightcap. No one know.
Yeah.
But you should try it for your own self.
I am gonna try. I think that's gonna be my goal for this week.
Yeah, at least this week.
We talk about like setting goals and stuff like that. That's gonna be my goal. Try to do an old fashioned this week.
Yep.
And I'm gonna give myself on a scale of 1 to 5 how realistically I'm gonna give myself a 5 on that one. I'm gonna be committed. Next week we'll talk about if I was successful in creating. Is it going to be good or is it going to be good? Probably not. But you know what? I'm going to practice the skill.
Yep.
To make an old fashioned at the house.
Set your goals.
Set the stage. The ambush begins.
Hopefully the ambush will begin, because if that's a hit, the ambush will definitely begin.
We can definitely start the trampoline then.
And then once you learn, you can help teach me. Because I also I love bourbon.
I like how we knew exactly what we were talking about with set your goals and then set the stage. But for the audience, Set Your Goals is a good band from the Bay Area. And Set the Stage is a little homage to my good friends over at the Warriors.
The Warriors.
Great
not
hardcore
the team.
band. Yeah, not the team.
Not the Bucket Brothers or the Splash Brothers. That's what they call them.
Bucket Brothers.
Something else.
Not to be confused with the Smash Brothers.
Yeah. Because they will smash you.
And they brought in Goldberg.
I like this one. Read a book or write a book?
Bro.
Write a fucking book, dude.
Write a book?
Yeah, don't even get help. Just write it. Send it to some place to fucking edit it. Pay for publishing and just put it out there. I feel like that should be a Boston Be a Man.
Boston Be a Man.
Be like, write a book, be a man.
Yeah, write a book.
Don't proofread it.
Write a book about something you know. Be a man.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, but you could be a New York Times bestseller. By the way, that almost means nothing nowadays.
Yeah, it really
I think you pay into that, and it's just like book club type shit.
Yeah.
But no, reading's important, obviously, because it helps stimulate your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're processing more words. You're learning more words.
Yeah.
It's helping your vocabulary. It's helping your memory. It's also giving you an escape. Like, if you can get into behind a great book, it's really going to animate in your brain. And
I was just going to say that.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, you pretty much setting up however these people look like in the scenarios, you're setting them in your head.
Yeah.
So use your imagination.
SpongeBob, Mrs. Puff. I'm not too sure about this one sometimes.
Help people in need.
Yeah, like who's needing it?
I think
maybe less fortunate.
Less fortunate. I think that's good. And also, like, when you're going through depression, this is something that was recommended to me too. Like, help in a shelter or something, do community service, because you're doing things, and you're seeing things being accomplished, and that helps your brain like accomplish things, feeling that. But I guess I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
But then once again, like, are you doing it for the right reasons?
Exactly.
Because then it does sound selfish more than selfless. Because
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, I'm just helping people so I'm not sad about the news. And it's like, well, the action is right. The intent is a little off. But I guess at the end of the day, if you're doing something good, maybe the intent can change. And maybe eventually I don't know. But like, that's responsibility with character. You still got to have that, people. We were adults. This is a good one. This one's really good.
Yeah,
it's super effective.
I do this constantly.
Is that O.J. Simpson?
No, it's something.
I know, I'm kidding. But practicing deep breathing and meditation is, I mean, as someone who struggles with anger and anxiety, it's such a help, because a lot of your frustration and stress is correlated to your physiological issues. And helping that breathing is really taking that heart rate down. It's just going to allow you to focus more on your thoughts instead of just reacting to emotional problems and all these things that are in front of you, but not necessarily the whole grand scheme of what you're dealing with. And it's exploding and it's becoming more than what it really is. It's not giving you perspective anymore. You lost perspective. So it's good to control that. It's also, breathing, it sounds silly, but it's something I think we all need to try and do better, because it's a main discipline you do when you're in sports. Everyone talks about controlling your breathing when you're lifting weights.
You also see it like when you're running, playing soccer, because when you're having good breath exercise, and also you see like LeBron James now doing breathing exercises like before or during the game. You see a lot of these top athletes like kind of breathing, kind of not to get sewn down, but kind of like not let the pressure get to them.
Yeah. And I think that's because it correlates to your heart rate, and it helps. You're not like overworking an organ, right?
And it was just like the worst thing. We literally started this episode with saying, and like when you tell kids, like when they're angry, like, okay, count to 10, breathe. It's just kind of like get some air into there.
Right.
Get some air and kind of like, all right, you know what?
And you're focusing on the numbers, the breathing. You're not focusing on the bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. It's redirecting your attention, right? Yeah. Because you're too emotionally involved with whatever you're dealing with, that you're not thinking logically. This last one's fun too. I like it because I think it's just a good rule of thumb in general. I think, especially since COVID, I think people gotten a lot better about this, which is one of the positive takeaways from the COVID situation, was just write a list of places you've been meaning to visit locally and just actually do it. Because I think COVID taught us a lot when it came to like, small businesses and how much they took a hit, and how a lot of them are gone now, and how tragic that is. But what the main takeaway was, we need to be better consumers and support our communities better. We've become so corporate minded with Amazon purchases, with Target.com and Safeway. But it's like, if you go to a farmer's market, go to, and by the way, they're way less crowded some of the time.
Yeah, the farmer's market,
straight up grocery store. You're getting better produce. It's grown locally. Half the shit nowadays isn't even grown in the dirt that we get in the grocery stores. It's on freights, on ships, and the shit is just grown in under a light. It's crazy. So, support local for more than one reason: for yourself, to help your community out. Because Jeff Bezos, man, he's already flying to space. Like, he's good.
Yeah, he's good. He flew and came back.
He's got his money, and that's what I mean. Like, it's like, let's be selective. Like, of course, I'm not gonna stop buying from Amazon. Yeah, their Prime is fucking great. They undercut a lot of people on the cost, but I know there's certain things that I can just spend a little more on to help people out, and I don't mind doing that. But yeah, I understand. At the end of the day, I'm a consumer too. We got to balance that checkbook. But it's just good. Do your local stuff. It's giving your psyche something like, I know my community. These are my people. Like, I feel like this is kind of a friendship because I'm supporting you. You're supporting me. You're going to make friends too. And it's all beneficial, you know? So why not? And instead of just listening to the same shit over and over again on a screen. And I think that's the main easy takeaway is turn off the TV, stop looking at your phone.
That's how I look
just like right now.
Yeah.
And go outside, do something organic. Like yesterday when I was driving, we were driving to Fresno. It's about a 2-hour drive from here. And then the whole time, there were moments where I was on my phone, but then I took like moments, maybe like an hour, maybe 40 minutes, where I purposely was just looking outside the window because I didn't want to just be glued to my phone the whole time. And it's just like, I remember when I was a kid, or even when I was in my teens, road trips or riding in the car, I didn't have a phone to just distract me. Yeah. I was in the car. It was part of the road trip. It was part of the vibe. And it's like, I feel like we've lost a lot of that. And we're just taking too much in, too much.
Like today, it's funny because on my way over here, I was listening to like a podcast. So I'm listening. And then like, I'm just admiring how green how green sounds like the Bay Area is right now because of the recent rain we got. It's just so green, so beautiful views. And sometimes like you have to like detach yourself to really like enjoy like the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do. And just remind yourself like, oh yeah, this is what makes me happy, not what they tell me makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think as a culture, you know, we're obsessed with information, you know, and this is a worldwide culture, not just Americans. And whatever's going to happen, I think really is going to happen. Like I said earlier, I mean, if it is so terrible, we are going to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like 9/11, even if you didn't watch the news, your neighbor's talking to you about it. Your coworker's talking to you about it. Your boss is talking about it. Your teachers.
We're still talking about it.
We're still talking about it. So it's not preparation for survival. It's really just, you know, I think it's now become an obsession and in some forms a psychosis for some people, because some people don't leave their houses. They act like they're shell shocked. And it's just all because of the fucking programming on the TV. And they allow themselves to just turn into these bots. Like everyone, as you've seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, absolutely.
Or no, which one's the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? I think is no Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is the Gene Wilder one. I'm talking about the older one.
Yeah.
So Mike TV.
I think it was Willy
Wonka. Yeah, I think Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was the
newer one.
Was the Johnny Depp one. Either way,
it is Willy Wonka. We know which one we're talking about. We're talking
Gene
about the
Wilder
real one.
Yeah, the real one, the good one. Exactly. Mike TV, same thing. The kid was just obsessed with TV. That's like every American person.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like we're obsessed with TV. We're obsessed with our phones. We need to connect with ourselves on a human level so we can reform those bonds with other people, you know, your friends, your siblings. Like it needs to be something more than just a text message. You know, you really need to extend the offer and go more than the 50%, you know, because maybe you got to go the 80 that first time so they can go the 50 the next time. And I really think some people just need that jump start, because I know, like, I wish everyone wanted to do what I wanted, like as far as effort, you know, but some people need that push.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of up to us as friends, as family. Give, you know, someone down, give them a little push of inspiration, you know, say, hey, you know what? Let's go do this, or let's not do this, you know? And then lastly, I just want to end with 5 tracks that I did some research on.
I like these tracks.
I made a playlist that I will be sharing as well. I call it News in Music. I'm not going to really break down much on the tracks. I'm just going to really just kind of touch who it is and the song title. So the first one I got, which I enjoyed, Engage the Fear Machine by Lamb of God. Cool name.
It's funny because earlier today I shared with you that picture that we took many years.
And I'm wearing my Lamb of God sweater.
You're wearing Lamb of God.
Old school.
Yeah.
By the way, that was New American Gospel era. Such a hipster comment. But no, but Engage the Fear Machine by Lamb of God, which is off the Storm und Drang record, which is the record that was a concept album when Randy was in the Prague prison when the fan died at the show. The lyrics for this are really interesting. It's funny. He's a very liberal guy, but if you if you read the lyrics to the song, it doesn't sound like he's like, because he's super like liberal. He like protests the pipeline bill, and he goes out there, he does his things. And I'm not attacking his political beliefs, but I do think that this song, I love when artists have their opinions and they're who they are. But their music isn't just propaganda of their beliefs.
Yeah.
They present it in a way that is somewhat interpretable. And I think that's genius music. I mean, music should be somewhat subjective, right? Like they have their reasons for what it means to them, but they also did it a certain way so it could be universal for other people. Great song. The lyrics are just amazing. I mean, either way, whether you're liberal or conservative, we can all agree that our data stream's flawed. This one's more of a classic song, Give the People What They Want by the Kinks.
Yeah.
I looked it up. It's funny. The Kinks, you know, You Really Got Me.
Yeah.
Really kind of started in the 60s. This is an 80s Kinks song. Very punk.
Really? I can see them going into the punk world.
Yeah, it makes sense because they probably came from that anyway, I think, because they're also from England.
Yeah.
But you might know this song, Panic by the Smiths.
I do. And when I was seeing the list earlier, at the very end, it goes, hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ, hang the DJ. Where it's like, Panic in the streets of London, panic in the streets of Birmingham. I wondered. Okay, I'm not gonna go.
No, but exactly.
Yeah,
but that's exactly why I put this together.
Yeah, nice little, and just that word panic. I think that's
with an exclamation point.
Yeah, like just the perfect example of what happens when we hear things only and like play certain stuff that we hear. It's just it creates panic.
Think this way. Boom. This one I grew up with and knew, and I'm like, oh, this is a fun one. Grand Illusion by Styx. Very interesting, kind of keyboard heavy song, but it's an interesting song because the lyrics, once again, it's talking about this grand production, and that's really what the news is as well. It's this orchestrated, rating based production. It's not a data stream anymore.
It's funny, as soon as you said data-based stream, it reminded me of Blue Streak. Oh, I'm sorry, Money Talks.
Oh, okay.
Money Talks, when Charlie Sheen's character doesn't want to have the interview with Chris Tucker's character until Monday for Swips Week or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's Swips Week, and Chris Tucker's like, man, fuck us. Great fucking movie too. Also,
I gotta rewatch that one. That's Charlie Sheen, right?
Charlie Sheen and the guy who plays Miklo in Blood and Blood Out.
Nice.
Damien Chapa, I believe, is his name. And then you got Chris Tucker in there also.
Yeah, just
a great fucking
classic.
Movie. Great movie.
Man, all those guys seem like they did cocaine.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, probably all at the same time.
I'm pretty sure.
Could you imagine being high on cocaine and hearing Chris Tucker?
Oh God! I just imagine his character on The Fifth Element.
Oh God!
Would screw me up.
That would be him on.
Would screw me up because I for the longest time when I first watched it, I was like, "What the fuck is this guy's about?"
I thought it was kind of woman. When I was a kid, I was confused too.
Yeah, it's not that his sexuality confused me or how he presented it. What confused me was, what the fuck is this guy like saying, and what's this guy personality? It's just
he was acting odd, it was unique. Well, I mean, it's a space age movie, so anyone that's trying to figure it out, it's confusing.
Yeah, that's true.
I was a kid when that came out. I was just like, this movie's a trip. I still have not seen it all the way through.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
I need to watch it.
Yeah.
Last one.
Okay.
Makes sense. All Apologies by Nirvana.
That song's about the news.
And I need to do more research because I don't know if they all are. I think some of these might have just been interpreted that way. Because who really fucking knows? But I wouldn't be surprised because in the 90s, grunge was definitely not happy with the media because the media was showcasing it and kind of giving them beef with 80s rock.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the media was saying grunge is taking over, grunge is making all this rock insignificant. And it's like, but none of those 80s bands were saying that probably.
Yeah.
They were just creating a tiff and trying to showcase something new.
Mm-hmm.
And being on the front line of what's changing. And it's more like, here's what we're showing you that's changing and not really what's necessarily relevant.
Yeah, I think it's funny because when I used to see like VH1 Behind the Music or whatever, whenever they talk about like specifically Nirvana coming out, like I forgot which band. I must have been, maybe it was Poison or Motley Crue or something. They were all like, "Fuck, we have to go out there and get vinyl, like flannel shirts now," because that was like, "Oh shit, this is like the new sound."
Yeah,
and it's just like, yeah, look how much like it influenced, and I think it was the whole grunge thing, like with Nirvana and Pearl Jam. It wasn't like, yeah, that's cool what they're doing, but this is the real music, people, rather than like
not the image.
Yeah, not the image and shit. So, yeah, that's a great song. Anyways, All Apologies.
Definitely. It's not so. It's a played out song, but it's not. At least it's not Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Which Nirvana song isn't played out?
That's true. That's true.
Kind of like,
I guess if it wasn't, it'd be a song that no one really listens to anymore.
Yeah, it's a deep track.
Yeah, deep. So deep, put that ass to sleep. Yeah. And at that note, we're going to put this to sleep, guys. We are done this week. We spreaded enough misinformation for once.
Yeah.
And, I think we cluttered your brains with enough information. Hopefully you're not feeling overwhelmed. Hopefully you're feeling a little inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're just kind of casually deciding, hey, I've been working for the last hour and 40 some odd minutes, and now I just kind of want to check in and see what they're talking about. Well, it's over. It's too late. You fucking waited too long.
Yes.
You're going to have to rewind it, or I guess that's the proper term, even though it doesn't make sense. But yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining me, Danny, of course.
Always a pleasure.
We got to enlighten these people, and we're trying to help. You know, we're pushy at times, but for good reasons. Like we want people to think more. I want people to think more. I don't want people to agree with me. I want them to ask more questions. I want them to think more. I don't want them to just absorb. Question. Science is questioning. None of us ever questioned shit. We would have believed all the crap the church was telling us thousands of years ago, and we'd still be worshiping goat people. I don't know. I just made that up. But you know what to do. Be smart. Be safe. Be kind. And let's try and figure this out together. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace out, everybody.
Thanks, bye.
Drink your water.
Thanks. God, I stuttered at the end. I did so well, and I fucked it up. Peace.